All right, guys, I'm late to the party on this one, but better late than never. So Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors requested a meeting with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, in which she made some demands to them after what she believes to be Joe Biden winning the election because of course, black women delivered the election to Joe Biden, and that they're the saviors of the Democrat Party and the left. At least that's the narrative that's being told. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you're watching a Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black Conservative Perspective, aka a far leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. So this article is from the New York Post. And I'm going to go ahead and just get into it here. Patrisse Cullors, a co-founder of Black Lives Matter movement, has requested a meeting with President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris to discuss the expectations she has for their administration. In a letter to the 2020 Democratic running mates after their win over the weekend, the anti-racism activist highlighted the electoral power that came with her movement's backing. Quote, without the resounding support of black people, we would have been saddled with a very different electoral outcome. In short, black people won this election, wrote Cullors, who's 36. Quote, alongside black-led organizations around the nation, Black Lives Matter invested heavily in this election. Vote and organize became our motto, and our electoral justice efforts reached more than 60 million voters. Quote, we want something for our vote. We are requesting a meeting with both of you to discuss the expectations that we have for your administration and the commitments that must be made to black people, she continued. All right, first and foremost, this is a very clear example of how Black Lives Matter does not understand business, okay? You do not pay for a product before you're able to try the product or able to even get the product, right? They paid Joe Biden in votes and tried to get this man elected before even having the discussion about what they was going to do. Again, that's how silly the leadership of these movements are. Patrisse Cullors is a silly person who cannot lead me or anybody else anywhere because she don't know what she's doing. Again, people wanted to get on Ice Cube because Ice Cube was like, "Hey, let's talk, right? This is what I want. This is what I think you could do." And the Democrats told him, "Just wait till after the election." Just like they probably told Patrisse here, "Wait till after the election. Vote for me first. Buy my product first. Put this money down first. Once you put this money down, even though black people have been putting money down on the Democrat Party since the civil rights era, put this money down and then you may or may not get something. We may or may not do something for you. We're not even going to discuss what the product is. We're not even going to discuss that. We're not going to have that discussion. Just know you might get something. We don't know what it is, but it might be something. Very likely it's going to be nothing. Or very likely we're going to take more from you. You're going to get a negative return on investment. You're not even going to get a zero return. You're going to get a negative ROI on the Democrat Party. That's what the deal is. That's how it works. But the Trump administration at least came to the table and was like, "Hey, you know what? Let's talk. Let's negotiate. Let's try to implement some of your ideas with my ideas. Let's take you serious." The Trump administration at least wants to talk and try to work for your vote rather than just assume that they already got your vote and then we might do something for you after you basically confirm that you want me. Then we might do something for you. This is a prime example of how the Democrats operate. And this is a prime example of why the next 4 years under Biden, you're not getting nothing. You're not getting nothing. Well, I mean, of course, you shouldn't expect anything from the government in the first place. But regardless of that, if anything, they might try to hurt you in some way. They might take away from you, but you're not getting nothing. They're not going to talk to you. Joe Biden, he's already filling up his cabinet with high-level corporate executives. you know, from all these big tech companies, all these other corporate interests. None of these people that thought they were going to get a seat in Biden's cabinet are getting seats. None of these people get seats. All these people that went out, campaigned for him, did all this stuff. Nothing. Nothing at all. And it's funny because the efforts of people like LeBron James and all these other people who tried to get, historic numbers of black turnout, which, they did. There was a historic turnout all around, not just for black people. But the efforts to get them to vote Democrat fail. Now, President Trump, at least for right now, but we'll see what happens with the court stuff. We'll see how that works out. They really didn't win anything because the Democrats in the House lost seats. And the Senate looks like it very well may be still controlled by the Republicans. So what did you accomplish? If anything, this is a net loss for the Democrats. So you really didn't do nothing. So now the real facts show that you didn't do anything. What are you owed? You think they're going to pay you back for delivering them nothing? You may have delivered a Joe Biden presidency with less power in the House and a Republican Senate led by Mitch McConnell. Come on now. That's what you delivered, ultimately. So even if he wanted to do something, it may be hard for them to even get it done. And again, the idea that Black Lives Matter delivered. How is that the case when President Trump had the highest turnout from minorities in history in terms of percentage-wise and just numbers? How's that possible? I think President Trump won like 8% of black women and like almost 20% of black men. Hispanics as well, all-time high. Hispanic women, again, explain to me how that works. Explain to me how, from a percentage standpoint, your movement's supposed to be working. If anything, no, your movement did not work. Your movement actually resulted in more people voting for President Trump and Republican. If anything, your movement failed. You didn't deliver anything. Yeah, you might have delivered more votes in sheer numbers, but not from a percentage standpoint. Probably wouldn't be surprised if some of those people you got registered to vote went to the polls and voted for Trump and Republican down the ticket. Like, oh no, I can't deal with these people. These folks crazy. They trying to kick me out of the house. They trying to get rid of me. Joe Biden was the architect of the crime bill. He trying to send me back to jail. Trump out here releasing nonviolent drug offenders left and right. Again, how does this work? How does that work? You taking credit for something that objectively is just not true. You didn't do anything. But she continues, while highlighting the importance of the black community as a voting bloc, Cullors went on to explain why those she represented felt changes were so urgently needed. We want to be heard and our agenda to be prioritized. We issue these expectations not just because black people are the most consistent and reliable voters, but also because black people are truly living a crisis in a nation that was built on our subjugation. She began before arguing that the U.S. efforts towards improving circumstances have been inefficient. Quote, up until this point, the U.S. Has refused to directly reckon with the way that it devalues black people and devastates our lives. This cannot continue. Black people can neither afford to live through the vitriol of a Trump-like presidency. What happened in the last 4 years, woman? Had the black community been destroyed in the last 4 years by President Trump? What has President Trump done that's so bad to the black community in the past 4 years? That's the question I would have to this woman, making statements like this. Oh my God, Trump says bad things. Okay, and a lot of people say bad things or mean things or things that hurt people's feelings. Are hurt feelings really destroying the black community? Because if hurt feelings are destroying the black community, there ain't nothing that Joe Biden can do for you. There ain't nothing nobody can do for you. That's a personal issue. Nor through the indifference of Democrat-controlled government that refuses to wrestle with its most egregious and damnable shame. Again, if you believe that, then why you vote for him for? If you know that black people throw 90% of their support behind Democrats and we're in this position right now, why do you believe that all of a sudden voting for this new Democratic administration is going to change anything? You think because Kamala is half black that that's going to change something? That that's going to change your life? Again, what Black Lives Matter should actually be doing is not begging the government to do something for them. They should be organizing to do something for themselves. They should be organizing to set up all this money that they're getting from these people donating to this movement. They should be starting their own venture capital funds. They should be starting their own private equity firms. They should be starting their own, should be starting their own banks. Actually using capitalism as a way to fight the so-called oppression that you claim that black people are going through. But yet you would rather waste money paying these lifetime activists and quote-unquote organizers to sit in their SJW circles and circle joke each other about how bad white people are. That's what you would rather do rather than actually put in the work and, I don't know, open up some trade schools or something. Do something that's going to help black people gain skills and take advantage of this capitalistic society. I don't know, maybe start some financial literacy courses. Start talking about how important investing is in the community. Maybe put that on your website. Maybe put an investing course on your website. Let's figure out a way to, take advantage of capitalism and make it work for us. Every other community is doing it. Every other community is taking advantage of capitalism, making it work for them. Why can't we make it work for us? Why is it that we got to be the group of people that's moving towards socialism? Marxism. That's what is on the Black Lives Matter website, at least it was. You a trained Marxist. This is why you can't lead me nowhere. You can't lead me anywhere because you're leading me in the opposite direction everybody else is going. Everybody else is like, nah, we love capitalism. We're going to take advantage of it. We starting our own stuff. We taking care of ourselves. Black people are like, nah, we need to embrace socialism and Marxism. I'm talking about real full-blown communism, socialism. That's what I'm talking about. Where everybody's the same. Everybody gets paid the same. There's no income inequality at all. And free speech is limited. Freedom of religion is limited. Basic rights are limited. That's what I'm talking about. That's what they want. At least that's what it seems like they want. Now, furthermore, it says the activists did not shy away from critiquing Biden and Harris' individual records on the issues of race, arguing that their time in the White House could be an opening to correct past errors. Quote, both of you discussed addressing systemic racism as central to your election campaigns. Both of you also expressed regrets regarding your record on issues impacting black people. The best way to ensure that you remedy past missteps and work towards a more just future for black people and by central all people is to take your direction from black grassroots organizers that have been engaged in this work for decades with a legacy that spans back to the first arrival of enslaved Africans, the Black Lives Matter leader said. Again, keep in mind, throughout all this, she hasn't made any real demands. She hasn't asked for anything. She doesn't have a plan. I mean, notice, at least Ice Cube had some plan. You might not agree with the plan, but at least he had a plan. He had some demands. Her only demand is, could you continue to employ the people that I'm currently employing because we might be running out of money? Could you get them some jobs in Washington? Could you take direction from these Marxists, trained Marxists? Can you take that direction, please? That's what she's asking for. And this is silly stuff, man. The people that they have running these organizations don't know anything. And that's the reason why Black Lives Matter doesn't have any real leadership. They have no real direction. They let Antifa hijack their movement. They let all these other people join in on their movement. Because their leadership sucks. You got people like this leading the movement. But like I said, man, this stuff is going nowhere. The next 4 years of Biden, they're going to see exactly what they're going to get. If Joe Biden takes office, they're going to get Lock 'em Up Joe. They're going to get Bombs Over Baghdad Joe. They're going to get Handsy Joe. We'll see. You reap what you sow. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.